Hello. Thanks for for joining another live stream. I'm Travis, and stutter. I first started stuttering when I was in third grade. So that's around age eight or nine, and I was put in speech therapy pretty instantly, and was there off and on for years, and until my 20s, and then in my late 20s, I decided to become a speech therapist. So that's actually what I do for work now, and I've been doing it for a few years. So if anyone has questions about stuttering, then please write them in the chat. I'm pretty good at responding to most every question that I get. So, oh, here is one. Well, Amy is asking how I'm doing. First off, so far pretty good. I've got allergies that have been pretty intense the past week and a half in particular. So I've been tired from that. And Anthony says, Travis, I don't mean to be rude, but I heard in your last live that you wanted kids. I was wondering how you plan to handle their possible stuttering. Yes, I would love kids for the longest time. That is when someone asked me what I wanted to be or do for work. That was the only answer that I could respond with for certain, was that I wanted to be a father, which is tough because for the longest time, my biggest fear was that one of my kids would also stutter, and there is a strong genetic component with stuttering. So my kids will be more likely to stutter, since I have a stutter, and that is tough to knowingly pass on, knowing that I really struggled in my youth with not just talking and expressing myself, but mentally and emotionally, that impact as well. So that is partially why I've been doing all of these live streams and posting video content, is because if my kids do stutter, then hopefully they will have all of this content to look at, and maybe some of it will help them out, maybe not, but I will totally treat them with patience and respect. I will try to help them with their speech. I suspect I would not be their speech therapist, because probably kids wouldn't like that their dad is their speech therapist. But yeah, that's how I would probably handle it. All right, I will talk a little bit about stuttering as more questions come in. And one aspect of stuttering, or one technique that I use, that is one of the most useful strategies that I found with my stutter, is actually not one that helps me manage my stutter. It's instead just advertising or disclosing to others that I do stutter. So telling them, hey, this is part of my life. I stutter. Sometimes it will take me a few extra seconds to get my words out. If you have questions, cool. If not, cool. And I have found that by sharing that I stutter with people early on, it removes a lot of anxiety and pressure in my own life and in my mindset of that conversation, because I will constantly be wondering, okay, I haven't stuttered yet, but I will at some point. What will they think when I finally do stutter? Or I may have stuttered, and they may not really know much about stuttering, so they may be confused. And so just by directly telling them, hey, I stutter, so my words get stuck sometimes. Well, that just really helps to bring awareness and education of, oh, okay, I can expect that. And he brought it up, so clearly he's comfortable talking about it. I don't know much about stuttering, but I've got questions, so I guess I can ask him. So, so that is or that has been one of my biggest tips, is just telling people, hey, I stutter sometimes. And it's remarkable how much pressure that removes just from saying that. Do you have any news about the friend you have to do the interview with? Yes, he just moved to a new state, and so he's settling in. Though actually tonight I will be joining a podcast hosted by two stutterers. So I will hopefully get them on for a live stream sometime in the next week or two as well. Definitely have plans to do more interview live streams with other stutterers. Just has been tough to lately. Travis, could you show us what your stuttering sounds like when you whisper? Yes, so this is me whispering, and you'll notice I don't really stutter. So most stutterers, when they whisper, they won't stutter as much, sometimes not at all. And that's because our vocal cords are not as tight. There's not as much tension because our two vocal cords, they don't touch when we whisper, because we're making more breathy sounds. And because they don't touch, that's why there's less tension, less stress, and we are less likely to stutter. Now, the contrary to that is with yelling, where if we yell, then we need more force, more pressure with our vocal cords in order to talk louder. And so often when people yell, they may get stuck more. Likewise, part of that is also because when you yell, typically you are frustrated or excited or upset, and those emotions can exacerbate stuttering. Though when we yell, sometimes it's as a reflexive response. And when we speak with more quick automatic responses, we tend to not stutter as much. So whispering, we don't stutter as much, sometimes not at all. Yelling will vary, where sometimes we will stutter more, sometimes we won't stutter as much if it's a reflexive automatic yelling response. Do you get tired of talking? Yeah. Yeah, I totally do. When I stutter, it is physically and mentally and emotionally exhausting. When I use strategies to better manage my stutter, which I'm not doing now. Those strategies take a lot of effort sometimes, and that can get very tiring too. So pretty much I'm always tired. If I've had a particular day where I've talked a lot, then by the end of that day, I will be totally wiped out and pretty much not want to talk at all. Hello, I'm proud of you. You are helping a lot of people. Thank you. Have you ever had the idea of making videos with filters where you have to say words so as to train your stuttering? Ooh, I know what you're talking about. Where I'm recording myself, but a word or a phrase will flash up on the screen, and I need to say it in a certain time frame. I've thought about making those. I don't really like those, and I think it's different if my goal were to use strategies during that type of video to work on managing my stutter more. But when I do my videos like this, I let my stuttering out, and so it's not really fun to know the word that I want to say, and then get stuck on it and see that timer keep going, that I'm stuck on it. It's not really training my stuttering, because when you let your stutter out, sometimes you'll stutter, and sometimes you won't. There's no real rhyme or reason to it. There's no real set words or set sounds that you'll stutter on. Likewise, I suspect lots of people watching would view it as, oh, look at him, he gets stuck on his words, and the timer keeps going. Maybe I'm wrong about it, but that's my initial thought, at least. Did you ever hear from the children's book illustrator? No, I don't recall getting an email from her, or from them. I assumed it was a her. Yeah, hopefully they reach out at some point, because I've got what I think is a pretty good idea for a children's book about stuttering with a nice twist. So that could be cool. So maybe. All right. No more questions in the chat, so I will talk a little bit more about stuttering. This is, sorry, while I change one setting on here for myself. That's better. Yeah, so I mentioned that that sharing that I stutter with people when I first meet them can be very useful. One thing that I found with myself is, well, at least historically, was I would try to hide my stutter as much as I could. And so that would mean several things. Either I would just not talk at all, so I wouldn't stutter, because if you don't talk, then you can't stutter. Or I would talk way less, kind of just when I knew I could get a word or a phrase out, or I would substitute words. And substituting words is kind of a bad habit in a sense that a lot of stutterers fall into, where we know, hey, I'm talking now, but I can feel that in my next word I'm going to get stuck, and I don't want to stutter either, because I'm self-conscious and embarrassed by it. I'm too tired, or I haven't stuttered around this new person yet, and it'll look really weird when we've made it for 5 minutes in this conversation, and I haven't stuttered yet, because I barely talked, and I've substituted words that I would otherwise get stuck on with a synonym. So, for example, if I'm talking and the word I want to say is big, but I know that I'll get stuck on it, well, I can substitute big for large, gigantic, enormous, huge, just lots of synonyms that I may not get stuck on. And the listener perceives it as, oh, okay, they just said huge. Well, that's fine. And we, the stutterer, think, oh man, I was going to stutter. I switched my words so I would be perceived as fluent, and now this listener probably thinks that I don't stutter, because I haven't given them any reason to expect that, because I haven't stuttered yet. So that just keeps building up so much anxiety and pressure in our minds with that conversation. And so my advice is for stutterers, try to not substitute words if you can help it. It is scary to knowingly stutter, to let yourself stutter, to be seen with a stutter. But boy, it is powerful when you reach a stage where you're like, yep, I'm going to talk. I'll say exactly what I want when I want to. And if I stutter, so what? Because when you substitute words, the meaning of what you say changes, and sometimes the meaning doesn't change that much that it impacts what you're saying. Sometimes it'll make people a bit confused. And so rather than allowing stuttering to dictate how you communicate, my advice is to just let it out. All right, that was a longer tangent, but there we are. E squared, should I messaged you with her name. I wrote it down. Ooh, actually, yeah, if you don't mind, that would be great. Thank you. Do you think people make judgments about you because of your stutter? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, whether it's a conscious judgment or subconscious, I think that it is impossible not to, because we all pick up on differences, whether we like to admit it or not, and your judgment may not necessarily be negative. It may be neutral, but it's very difficult to recognize something or a pattern as sorry. It's very difficult not to recognize a different pattern. And so stuttering just it kind of sticks out. And so, yes, I do think people judge me for it. Sometimes it's a neutral judgment where it's simply them recognizing, oh, that's a bit different. Oh, he's struggling a bit. Let me wait a little more patiently for him. Could be that, or it could be kind of mean. But probably not many too positive judgments about stuttering, but there could be some. Do you ever lose your train of thought after a long lasting stutter? Yes. Not necessarily that I forget the word that I was trying to say, but I may forget what I have already said versus what I was planning on saying, because my thoughts don't stutter. We only stutter when we talk out loud. So even though I'm talking to you now, and I'm stuttering on a word, my thoughts are still going at a normal rate of speed. And so most people, when they're talking, they only think about what they're actively saying right then, and then probably a little bit of planning about what they'll say next. But with me, when people stutter, we do all that as well. But when I'm stuck on a word for 10 seconds, you could have a lot of random thoughts in 10 seconds, because it's not necessarily that I have to focus on getting these specific sounds out, because I know how to. It's just that the message from my brain to my speech muscles just hasn't quite landed yet. So yes, I sometimes have very random thoughts when I'm stuttering, which kind of make me lose my train of thought as well. Hey man, you're doing good. Keep it up. Believe in yourself and the process. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. Do more men than women stutter? Yes, I believe it's at a 4 to 1 rate, so roughly 4 times as many men stutter, males stutter than females. I forget the reason why. If researchers know why, I will have to look that one up. But yes, males are 4 times as likely to stutter. Likewise, children are stutterers way more than adults. So 1% of the population stutters. Roughly 5% of kids at some point will stutter. Usually it's between ages 3 and 6, and for most of those kids, roughly 80% will recover and stop stuttering within a few months of starting stuttering, and that's regardless of if they get speech therapy or not. So the remaining 20% who keep stuttering in their teenage years and adult years, like myself, we in all likelihood will stutter for life. There is no known cure. Thank you for the advice to let ourselves stutter. Sometimes I feel like an impostor during longer moments of fluency and repeatedly use synonyms, even when I know my stutter is real and can get really bad. Yeah, I resonate with that a lot. It's really challenging to have this thing that prevents us from expressing ourselves where we feel like we can't be we can't be our authentic selves, because some people aren't as patient with it. We feel like a burden. We get self-conscious about it. So yeah, I totally get that, and hopefully you're you start to have an easier time with it. Stuttering is a lifelong journey, but we'll work on it together. Hey, Travis, the other day I got stuck on my name when I went to introduce myself to someone, and they gave me this look like I forgot my name or something, and it really hurt my confidence for a while. Yeah, I think that's in a sense a rite of passage for stutterers, where we try to introduce ourselves, and without fail, the most common response is, "What did you just forget your own name?" Because no one really expects to interact with the stutterer. We're a rare breed. 1% of the population stutters, so that's 1 in 100 people, and some of those stutters are very minor, where they don't stutter much. Some of those people as well are really good at masking it and being perceived as fluent. So even though 1 in 100 people stutter, it kind of seems like a lot less. So yeah, I know that it really sucks to be given that look of what it's just your name. Just say your name. It's not that hard. Well, it is that hard. I in the past have been so stuck on my name, where 3 minutes have passed, where I could not get out and any sound at all, and the other person is standing there like, what's going on? Some people think I'm having a seizure when it happens. So yeah, it's not fun. But the good news of that is you by stuttering with that person, you kind of showed them that, hey, this is a new thing I haven't been exposed to. Maybe I'll see it again in the future, and maybe I will handle it a little bit differently. It'll be hard to normalize stuttering if we as stutterers are always too afraid to stutter. If we just remain quiet, or switch our words to pass as fluent, then no one will learn about stuttering. The awareness and education won't grow. So good luck, and hopefully next time is a little bit easier. And also, this advice was given to me by a professor in grad school. She said, "Okay, did you die?" Which kind of is the worst case of any situation. And so, yeah, we stuttered on her name. Yeah, they looked at us weird, but we didn't die. And I suppose in the scheme of things, being looked at differently is manageable in comparison. But good luck though. Travis, if you can, could you repost the live you do on the app with the tea with your friends, if they want. They're very interesting, and I wouldn't want to lose them. Oh, maybe you mean I could correct me if I'm wrong, but do you mean when I go live with Sam and Jonathan on TikTok? Sam is a stutterer in the UK, and Jonathan is a stutterer in Australia. Yes, I can totally post those. I'm pretty sure I can. I will try to download it next time that I record with them. So we'll see. Yeah, good idea. Hello, Caitlin. Good to hear from you, Travis. You all are my dinner buddies here on the East Coast. Lovely. Thanks for joining, and I'm glad you were able to catch the live when it's live. Can chatting with friends and family still be fun for you? That entirely depends on the topic of the conversation. Some conversations are not fun. Yeah, I can still have fun. I am used to the fact that I will stutter. I'm not used to when or how much I'll stutter, because that is always an unknown with stuttering, since stuttering by nature is inconsistent and variable. Sometimes we will stutter a lot. Sometimes we won't stutter as much. We never know what will happen when. But yes, I can totally still enjoy having conversations, even though I stutter, and even though I wish that I didn't stutter. Hello. How are you? I'm from France. Ooh, thank you for joining from France. My one my brothers lives in France actually. Um, you are a strong guy, and I applaud you all the time about your videos. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Travis, you guessed it. I couldn't say the name of the app because it doesn't like it. I'm glad you understood me anyway. Ooh, interesting. I didn't know that would happen. But yeah, I will try to post those recordings though. I think it's fair to say that all us stutterers say that if we didn't have a stutter, we would be completely different people. If you agree with that, what kind of person do you think you'd be? I agree completely. I totally think if I didn't stutter, I would be a different person. My answer, though, I think depends on the premise of the question. If I were to have never stuttered at all in my life, versus if I woke up to tomorrow and no longer stuttered, because I would totally have something to compare it to if I just woke up to tomorrow and didn't stutter. And I think I would be the most social person on the planet, probably, where I don't think anything on the planet could hold me back from expressing myself. I would probably get a different job where I had to do a lot of talking and probably a lot of persuading, maybe like a business or marketing type person. I feel like I would just have so much confidence. So yeah, that's how my life would be different if I woke up without a stutter. Yeah. Do you usually feel at ease with your friends and therefore stutter less? Yes and no. Yes, in that I typically feel more at ease with them. Usually, I won't stutter as much because they kind of know how to handle it with not guessing my words, being patient, and maintaining eye contact. But because I'm more comfortable with them and less self-conscious about stuttering, or about how my stutter is being perceived, then I am more likely to talk more. And by default, since I'm saying more things, I probably quantity-wise will be stuttering more, even if it's not matching how many stutters per group of words. Like, let's say, for example, I may stutter one time every 3 words when I speak with a stranger. When I speak with a friend, maybe that's 1 out of every 6 words. But maybe I'm talking 2 or 3 times as much, so I kind of am stuttering more, even though I'm stuttering less, if that makes sense. Hi from France. How are you doing? I really like your videos. You send a great message. Thank you. Looks like we've got a couple people from France here. That's cool. Thanks for doing what you do. As someone with ADHD, I'm not the best with eye contact, and sometimes guess people's words. But thanks to your videos, I now know what not to do, and that eye contact is helpful. Thank you. Yeah, thanks. I'm really glad that the videos are helpful. I've heard from quite a few people with ADHD that eye contact in particular is difficult for them, and that's okay. Just as you understand and recognize that it takes longer for my words to come out, I also recognize not to expect the listener to always maintain eye contact with me. We all go through different things, and stuttering is mine, and that may be yours. So that's okay. And I've also heard from a few people that they kind of practice with my videos. Their eye contact and trying not to guess my words, which is super cool. So yeah, love that. You might already have had this question. I can see a piano behind you. do you play piano? I started practicing a couple of years ago. Nice. I dabble in piano. I'm pretty solid at guitar, and when I've tried to really get good at piano, I've found that I got frustrated because my fingers can't really move like I want them to, and like they do on guitar, because I'm just not as familiar with piano yet. So hopefully with time that it becomes something that I get better at. But my main instrument is guitar, though. Awareness is everything. Agreed. Totally. Good night, Travis. Oh, so sorry. Good night from it to Lee Travis. Good night. And thanks for joining, Anthony. Do you think making videos helped you being more confident talking to people in real life? Yes, for sure. Because last October, when I first started posting videos, my goal was to put out one video per day, and I have kept up with that. So it's been what, like 9 months almost since I started, and that's been really powerful because I've been forcing myself to stutter openly, to talk with strangers about stuttering, to learn more about stuttering, so I can make more educational videos. So it's been really powerful, and my confidence has definitely increased from doing it as well. Yeah, piano can be frustrating sometimes, for sure. This might be a dumb question, but have you met any stutterers in public? I'm the only person that I know in my area that stutters. Ooh, yes. So I'm a speech therapist that also works at a private practice that focuses in stuttering therapy. So I've met loads of stutterers there. Likewise, I have been part of stuttering therapy workshops in different states. and support groups with the National Stuttering so association. So that is a great way to meet stutterers in your area. I don't know if I've met any just where I like happened to be in public and randomly met someone and they stuttered as well. That's probably happened, but I can't really recall. But if you would like to join a stuttering support group and meet their stutterers near you, then the website westutter.org is a pretty good one for that. I'm a teacher. When children start to stutter, is it a gradual thing? Usually, yes, to a certain extent. Like, I mean, there has to be a day when there's no stuttering to when you start stuttering. Now from that first day to day 30 or year 5 of stuttering, chances are that stutter will be different, probably more intense, but not necessarily. But yeah, most stutterers start between ages 3 and 6. Are most people nice with you when you stutter? People can be mean sometimes. Yes, they can. Fortunately, most people are pretty kind. Probably 1 in 10 or so people will laugh or stutter back at me, assuming that I'm pranking them, or they may just be very rude. But yeah, we all go through different things. Maybe they are having a tougher day. I don't know. Manifesting you working with complexly. I think your knowledge and experience would make a great SciShow video. Ooh, I think I've seen a few of those. SciShow, is that with? Oh, I can picture his face, but Hank something. I think his name is Hank. Yes, if I'm not mistaken, it's that. Yeah, they have put out some good videos, and yeah, maybe they're in the market for advice on stuttering. Cool. Yes, Hank Green. Thank you. What advice would you give to your past self? Buy Bitcoin in 2009, 2010. This question is difficult for me because I as a kid, hated stuttering. I would never talk about it. I would rarely talk in general. I was so embarrassed and self-conscious about stuttering. I never wanted it to be part of my life, and so I tried to just not have it part of my life. And I would not have listened to any advice that I would have shared, because I could not fathom a time where I would stutter openly, be a confident speaker, be comfortable speaking, and think that for the most part it's okay if I stutter. So I really would have pushed back on any advice that I would have offered. But for young kids, I would say something like, try to talk as much as you can. Stuttering doesn't bother other people nearly as much as it bothers you. If you stutter, which you will stutter at some point, that is okay. It sucks. It doesn't feel good, but it is okay. So that's roughly what I would share. What supports did you have in school? What supports did you need? Are we doing better by stutterers these days? I got extra time on tests, extra time on presentations, though sometimes I worked out with my teachers where I just wouldn't do the presentation at all. Sometimes we would do it where I would meet them at lunch and do it then to just them. Sometimes I would accept a 0 because I would refuse to do presentations. Now, I think therapy has changed a lot in the past 2 decades and in the past 1 decade, and this is carried over into school life as well, where it's more person-centered, and rather than focusing on, all right, your goal is to not stutter, or okay, you're afraid of stuttering, let's just accept that you won't talk at all. Now it is, or what I work on with my clients at least, is in increasing education around stuttering for them and their class, the other students and their teachers. And if we can encourage a more stutter friendly and environment where they won't get made fun of for talking differently, therefore they're probably more comfortable expressing themselves, then that is way better than just letting them not talk at all. Now, are there times when they should be allowed to not talk at all? Probably, yeah, because it gets really intense, and as a kid, you can't really hold on to your emotions well and navigate them. And so that's like probably the biggest thing in their whole life up to that point was like, oh, I've got a presentation coming up, and that's terrifying. So maybe sometimes they shouldn't do it, and maybe that's okay. I don't really know, but yeah. A friend of mine used to stutter when we were in junior high school. I always hated so much when students made fun of him for that, but like you, it didn't prevent him from talking. That is awesome, because when I was that age, I would not talk at all. I pretended to be shy, so I wouldn't talk. I pretended to not know answers in school, so I wouldn't talk. So your friend totally had more guts than I did. I didn't even think about presentations. I can't believe that they'd make you take a 0. That's so unfair. Well, it was kind of me who accepted it, because I could have presented and gotten a grade, but I would gladly take a 0 than speak in front of my class and stutter and get laughed at, and be viewed as different. So 0s were totally cool with me at that time. Is there any medicine that helps to stutter less? No. For a time, people thought that anti-anxiety medication would help, because usually if we're more anxious, we will be more likely to stutter more. That is false, though. The medicine it does not help. Likewise, it often comes with a lot of side effects, and so you still stutter, and you gained extra weight, and you're self-conscious about talking, and that you're bigger, things like that. So no medicine that's helpful. I can only imagine how exhausting it can be. on top of school and all that comes with being a kid. Yeah, for sure. It is pretty tough sometimes. You are an inspiration to the world, Travis. Thank you for spreading information about stuttering and spreading awareness. Thank you. Okay, I am tired from talking, so I am going to call it here, but I will be back Thursday or Friday at the same time, and hopefully you all can join me then. Thank you to everyone for sending questions and in the chat, because this live stream would be very difficult without those and without you. And thank you, E squared, for moderating. You are great. So thank you, and I'll see y'all in a couple days. Take care.